Hello, everybody. This is Qesheth again with a 10th in a series of talks entitled Tarot, the Major Arcana, and the Paths of Return. I have been talking about the cards of the Major Arcana and their relationship to the path of return on the Tree of Life, the path of evolution versus the path of involution. In this talk, I will be talking about Atu 12, the Hanged Man. In the Sefer Yetzirah, let me back up. Hello, this is Qesheth and 93. In the Sefer Yetzirah, it states the 23rd path is called the Stable Intelligence, and it is so called because it has the virtue of consistency among all numerations. It has the virtue of consistency. That relates directly to the title, the Stable Intelligence. This is path number 23, right here. Connects Hod and Gebura, the personal intellect and volition form, Mercury, with the Sephira of purification, action, called Gebura, from non-action to action. This is Atu 12, the Hanged Man. Another meaning for this card is the suspended mind. The suspended mind. The title of this card, The Spirit of the Mighty Waters. And also I want to take you back to and remind you. Remember that all female figures in the cards of the Major Arcana represent the soul, the anima mundi, moon consciousness, unconsciousness. And all male figures represent spirit and solar consciousness. This card is one of the elemental cards. Remember, we talked about there being 4 elemental cards, 7 planetary cards, and 12 zodiacal cards. This is one of the elemental cards, and it's attributed to water. This is a path of reflection. As water reflects the images directed into it by the supernals, thus creating the illusion of the physical world, so now the aspirant has the ability also. Eliphas Levi has an image of deity staring at its reflection in these waters. The microcosm is the reflection of the macrocosm, as above, so below. Again, we talked this path is called the stable intelligence. Stability after undergoing the trials and tribulations of the earlier paths, the paths of the personality. In the previous talk, I talked about the death card and the alchemical process of putrefaction, the total decomposition of the individual on this path here. Now the aspirant is reconstructed, reborn in the waters of the Great Mother, suspended but not yet dissolved. Alchemical suspension. The Hebrew letter for this card is Mem. Its numerical value is 40, or 600 if it's final. This is my drawing of a Mem. This is one of the 3 mother or foundational letters of creation, the primal water before being mixed with other elements. This is the astral fluid which everything is composed of, also known as the Akashic fluid, the astral light. These are the waters that nurture all of creation, coming from the Virgin High Priestess. The other mother letters are Aleph, primal air, seen on this path, and Shin, primal fire. Corresponding to the Hindu gunas or yunas, rajas, sattvas, and tamas, or the alchemical elements sulfur, salt, and mercury. This card represents baptism in water. The other two baptisms being the baptism of fire here on the path of Shin, and the baptism of air on the path of the Fool. In both of these cards, and most of the versions of the cards that I have seen, it shows a person hanging by their foot upside down. Interestingly, a note to add, hanging a person upside down was a form of punishment in the Middle Ages for criminals. Here, the aspirant is given the death sentence, as we all are. But he consciously pursued this state of being, this death, this sacrifice. This symbol can also be seen as a form of shamanic initiation that the aspirant has experienced to receive wisdom. In all cultures around the world, in shamanistic cultures and all cultures around the world, the ordeals of initiation, the ordeals to gain and to receive knowledge, can be very extreme and very harsh. Only in our modern times have many of the mystery schools softened these initiatic experiences. But in older times, it could have meant your death. The initiatic rituals, the shamanistic rituals used by various tribes and various cultures were very harsh, very harsh. And they caused an altering of perception, an altering of consciousness within the individual that created a change within that individual's outlook of the world. I am reminded of the Teutonic god Woden, who underwent a similar initiatic rite to receive the runes, the mysteries. As Woden says, I know that I hung on a windy tree nights all 9, wounded by the spear given to Woden, myself to myself, on that tree from which no man knows what root it rises. They dealt me no bread, nor drinking horn. I looked down and took up the runes, roaring. I took them up and fell back again. This falling back again points to the end of all these processes, where the aspirant will return again to the world of men, though himself no longer a man. Both figures are in the form of the cross and the triangle in both these cards, a symbol of the Golden Dawn, symbolizing the perfected man. When I use gender references like man, I am not, it's just a general term. It's not something I'm using to signify any particular gender. So anyway, in the universe card, you also saw this symbol, though upright. In this card, if you can see it here, see how she has her legs crossed and her arms are forming an upward triangle. That is Waite's version. And in Crowley's version, you see here, it's kind of the same thing, but not quite as pronounced. Okay. So in this card, in the universe card, you saw this symbol upright. In this card, it was the alchemical sulfur, or the alchemical symbol for sulfur, aspiration. Rajas in the Vedic philosophy, the cross surmounted by a triangle, symbolizing the human race in their natural state. So on the universe card, you saw the cross surmounted by a triangle, symbolizing the human race in their natural state. The triangle representing the divine that overshadows the unawakened humans. Now the symbol is reversed and man is made God. In Crowley's card, you see an Ankh representing the union of opposites. Also Venus. But more importantly, the Egyptian sandal, referring to the fourth power of the Sphinx, Ire, to go. The elemental tablets show the elemental tablets behind him show the elements in suspension, rightly ordered, preparing to be used to reconstruct the new creation according to divine will. The serpent is the serpent of life and death, hidden in the unconscious, the keeper of wisdom, who frees Adam and Eve through knowledge and now directly informs the aspirant. Seen here. The divine force is hidden in the divine force hidden in the unconscious is now consciously directing the ruach, the thinking principle, shown by the rays of light emanating from the crown chakra here, fully illuminating the universal unconscious of the aspirant, making its information available. So now the information of the universal unconsciousness is now being made available to the aspirant. The hands are nailed to signify fixation, stasis, rest. The nail also refers to the Hebrew letter Vav, whose numerical value is 6, and whose Atu is the Hierophant. Fixed earth, ruled by Taurus, as the sign of fixed earth, showing the fixing of the earth element and the suspension thereof in the universal waters. So, if the letter Vav, its numerical value is 6, and we have 3 nails, is 666, a number that represents the highest expression of the sun in its purely Tiferet function here, and not controlled by the shadow of the false ego. 6 plus 6 plus 6 also equals 18, which adds to 9 a number of completion. 3, as the 3 nails, is also a number of Binah, the great sea. After 9 comes 10, which represents completion and return. This is a solar operation undertaken by the holy guardian angel, unbeknownst to the aspirant until now, seen by the sun shining upon the aspirant here. But it's a white sun, again reflecting Kether, the Father. Sun and moon, the moon represented by the black disk here, united, giving birth to a new creation. This symbol can also be interpreted as the embryo in the womb. In Masonry, the union of sun and moon give birth to the master. The green spheres are Venetian, for as we talked about in my previous discussion, it is love that binds things together and makes this reconstruction possible. This is a state referred to in Eastern philosophies as samadhi, cessation, seeing the universe in its ultimate state of stasis, For time itself is merely a series of events. The stasis of infinity is the action through non-action of these mysteries. Cruelly made this experience of samadhi his major spiritual quest. The serpent holding the foot right here shows the action of the Kundalini in this operation, also showing this path's link with Gabura. Here. Movement. For it is this serpent energy, the energy of Mars, that both redeems and destroys. Here, it is being utilized to carry the aspirant forward in his spiritual progress to redemption. Let's take a quick look at Waite's card, which is a little less complex in its symbology, but the meaning is the same. Again, no matter what tarot cards you decide to work with, always make sure that their attributions are true. Make sure that they, because the unconscious, the universal unconscious, speaks to us through symbols. And symbols can be meditated on to awaken various truths within the aspirant. If the tarot cards you are using do not have the proper symbols, they will not be able to relay the information coming from the divine. So this is very important to remember when choosing a deck of tarot cards to work with. Okay, you have the inverted figure hung by a tall cross here. The cross of initiation, a Binah. Remember that we talked about the letter Tau in my first discussion on the universe card here. Wang points to the close relationship that Mem and Tau have in the cube of space. Both letters are suspended in the middle. Tau was also the mark placed on the forehead of initiates in the early mystery schools. The rays around his head represent illumination. Again, the head, Resh, is reversed, showing his new, introverted perspective. He hangs by a rope here. You can barely see it, but he hangs by a rope right here. That could be referred to the high priestess here. The Hebrew letter, Gimel, which is attributed to the high priestess, means a camel in Hebrew, but in Aramaic it means a rope. So, something to bind. This card represents total submersion in the universal unconscious. The branches on the cross are living, signifying the new life that is being born through this process. Jung has this to say, Carl Jung, the great psychologist, has this to say about this experience. A boundless expanse full of unprecedented uncertainty, with apparently no inside and no outside, no above, no below, no here, no there, no mine, no thine, no good, no bad. It is the world of water, where all life floats in suspension, where the realm of sympathetic system, the soul of everything living, begins, where I am individually this and that, where I experience the other in myself, and the other than myself experiences me. The collective unconscious is anything but an encapsulated personal system. It is sheer objectivity, as wide as the world and open to all the world. There I am the object of every subject, in complete reversal of my ordinary consciousness, where I am always the subject that has an object. Very interesting. Carl Jung was a fascinating psychologist who actually had experienced these spiritual experiences directly through just the uses of his psychological method. Okay, let's look at some of the attributions to this path from Liber 777. And the color in the king scale for this path is deep blue. The stones are beryl and aquamarine. The plants are water plants. The animals, the eagles, a snake and scorpion. The cherubs of water. The magical power is the great work and the working of talismans. The magic work or the magic ritual that should be performed, if you're interested, is Liber HHH, Liber 341. These Libers that I talk about can be found on the website Sacred Texts. So if you haven't purchased these books, I would recommend that you go there to find them. The spiritual experience for this path is the sleep of Shiloham, a method of trance whereby the aspirant may achieve communication with praetor human intelligences such as his HGA, Samadhi. Perfumes are a Neutsche mirror. The magical weapon is the cup and cross of suffering, the wine. In the human body, it is the organs of nutrition. In the I Ching, it is Tui. Some of the gods attributed to this path are Tum, Asar, Poseidon, Neptune. The holy book reading, if you are of a Thelemic persuasion, is Liber 65, Chapter 3. And we will finish this short discussion with some words by Crowley in the Book of Thoth. Let not the waters whereon thou journeyest wet thee, and being come to shore, plant thou the vine and rejoice without shame. Enforced sacrifice, punishment, loss, fatal or voluntary, suffering, defeat, failure, and death. Find that just fascinating. Let not the waters whereon thou journeyest wet thee. Action to non-action. Hopefully, you've been following me through each of these discussions. The next discussion will be on the path of the Wheel of Fortune. And after that, I'm going to take a break from the Major Arcana and do a discussion on the minor cards. I will not be able to go through each and every minor card and discuss its meaning, but I can give you some great hints on how to interpret these cards, looking at the numbers, the astrological correspondences, and make it so much easier for you to understand the small cards. Again, my name is Qesheth. I appreciate you watching these videos. Hopefully they are helping you on your journey. And for now, this discussion has finished. 93, everyone. Until next time.